For all that we have, we thank you. Guide us as we coach and mentor others. May our every engagement inspire them to be better leaders, speakers, and servants. Amen. Fellow Toastmasters and friends, let's raise our right hand for the Toastmasters promise. As a member of Toastmasters International and my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters education and recognition program, to act within Toastmasters core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities. So once again, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and friends from Division K and also from the other divisions in District 75. So tonight, we're going to have two talks. One will cover specifically for club coaching, and the other one to address how we can be better and effective individual mentors. So those are the two main talks that we can expect for tonight. And then we're going to break into discussion groups before we will have a little bit of a bio break. And then after that, each of the representatives of the three cases that we will be having tonight will have their presentation. And then finally, for us to provide the right closure, just in case there will be open items that we wish to address, we will also have a panel discussion headed by our speakers for the evening, as well as our district trio. But before that, allow me to run a little bit of a poll for us to see what's our Toastmasters coaching and mentoring well-being. Yes. And can you already see it or not yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Unfortunately, I'm actually trying to run it as we speak. Okay, got it. This is the one. Okay. I think now you can see it. So I'll just give you a few seconds, and I'd like us to get through these 5 questions for us to be able to effectively gauge our Toastmasters coaching and mentoring well-being. So, maybe I should start answering. Okay, I'm glad that we're now seeing more participation this time. So we already have 4 respondents. So I'll have a few more seconds before I'll eventually end the poll. We really don't like pa-fall, no? But at least for this case, it's good that we're going to run this particular survey so that the rest of our speakers would also be able to see and understand the context later, no? When we will have our panel discussion. So now I'm going to end the poll, and we're seeing that majority of us are actually optimistic, excited, happy. There's a few of us who are sleepy, but I'm certainly hopeful that our interesting discussion that tonight as well as the wonderful content that we have prepared for each one of you, will make you eventually more energetic and enthusiastic. A lot of us have been a Toastmaster for quite a long time, so this is a good mix because we're going to have an opportunity to also not just learn, but also listen from each other's experience, particularly when we go over the breakout session later on. There's also an even number of those who have mentored and those who have not. So this is a good mix. And it's interesting because a lot of us have not experienced how it is to coach a club. So that means that there's a lot of us who can also benefit for this particular talk and also later on during our panel discussion. And then lastly, yes, majority are here because we want to increase our knowledge in terms of club member mentoring. And it's a good end to begin with. So fellow Toastmasters and friends, I hope everybody's already excited as we are about to start our first talk. As we can see, tonight is an interesting blend of coaching and also mentoring. So coaching is usually defined as an opportunity or a process to improve performance, while mentoring is usually defined as a relationship between somebody experienced and also somebody who wants to learn. And tonight, it is our opportunity to learn more about coaching and also mentoring, but this time in the space within Toastmasters. Our speaker, or our first speaker tonight, is not just this year's District 75 impromptu speech champion. Our first speaker is also a past international director who also inspired and led District 75, connecting dreamers, ideas, and stories. So fellow Toastmasters and leaders, to speak about the great benefits of what mentoring is about, join me in welcoming past district governor, past international director, distinguished Toastmaster Elisa Tai.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Okay, so I'm here to talk about mentoring, but before we go into that, I would like to share a very short clip. And this is by, I think you would know him, Simon Sinek.
Yes.
And he's talking about a short, it's an old joke, really.
An old joke, you know, how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? One, but the light bulb has to really want to change. You'll get it later. The number one, my friend George Flynn, who's a 3-star retired general in the Marine Corps, he says it best. He says the most important criterion if you want to be a leader is you have to want to be one. If you enlist in the Marine Corps and you go to Paris Island or San Diego, if you go to boot camp, I don't care how much you hate it, you can't drop out of the Marine Corps. Like, you signed a contract, you're in for whatever your 3-4 years is. That's it, too bad, haha, right? If you go to OCS, if you go to Officer Candidate School, because you want to be an officer in the Marine Corps, one of the leaders in the Marine Corps, out of the 10-week program, you have to do the first 4 weeks, but then for the next 6 weeks, at any point, at any time, for any reason, if you want to drop out, you can. And the reason is because the Marine Corps only wants people in leadership positions who want to be leaders. If you don't want to be a leader, they don't want you.
Okay, so that very short clip gives us a glimpse of how we act as mentors. It's trying to draw out the interest of a person. Like I was talking before to a club president, and she was telling me, I'm spending my own money. I'm offering 1,000 pesos so that to any member that will achieve their norm. And you see, nobody's taking it. And she was wondering why. And that's where the mentors would come in, because as mentors, we need to know how to draw out the trigger of each individual member. Because that 1,000 pesos was an incentive. Motivation is something that will come from inside the individual member. And as mentors, it will be our task to find out what makes the Toastmaster click. What would make them decide to learn and become better? Before we move on, let us find out the exact meaning. Although there are various meanings of mentoring. Mentoring is sharing knowledge. It doesn't mean we are imposing our knowledge. It's sharing knowledge, skills, and life experience to guide another person toward reaching their full potential. It is not to change them to our style, to our mold, but rather to find out their strength and bringing out the best in them. Okay? So, can we have the mics muted, please? Okay, now, there would be a difference between mentoring and coaching. There's a difference.
Miss Elisa, you're on.
Go Elisa, nakamute ka. Go Elisa, nakamute ka.
Yes, because the host muted me also along with everybody else. Okay, so coaching is task-oriented, relationship-oriented for mentors. Meaning coaching, you ask somebody, can you please teach me how to play basketball? So it's task-oriented. It's a specific task. Now, mentoring is long-term, coaching is short-term. Mentoring could be time-bound also, because especially if you have transitioned from being a mentor-mentee to a friend's relationship, meaning you have transcended that mentor-mentee program, and you have become, sometimes the lines would be blurred with who is the mentor and the mentee. So coaching is short-term. Mentoring is development-driven. Coaching is performance-driven. Specific because it's task-oriented, so the coach will be more specific to that performance, to a particular performance. Mentoring requires design. Coaching does not require a design. We will talk about design later for the individual clubs. Mentoring does not require immediate manager. Coaching requires immediate manager. Basically, because it is short-term, it is task-oriented, it is time-specific, so you need immediate action. You need a immediate manager. So transition, when a new member comes in, you would like to make sure that the movement from new member to a member to an active one, you would like to smoothen transition between just a member and an active member. Help them learn the program. We lead them through club standards and customs. We develop confidence slowly. That's why I would like, for me, it's a personal choice. I do not like to, let's say if a new member comes in and then they're called for table topics and then they do very well, hate it when some members would right away say, okay, we now have our new contestants for table topics. Or, great, you will be our next contestant for the international speech category. Because we'd like to develop their confidence. We'd like to do it gradually and show them the ropes rather than pressure them into something that they might not be ready for. So develop them, develop the confidence, ask them, encourage them to participate more and quickly learn the speaking skills. So the transition would be very important for new members. Now, when we do mentoring, oftentimes the question is who would be the mentors in the club? Actually, it could be anybody. It could be anybody. I remember a Toastmaster in one of the clubs. She does not speak English very well. Her grammar is way off. Her only ambition when she joined or goal when she joined Toastmaster was become MC of the flag raising ceremony at City Hall. But she had a goal. She wanted to do that. And we realized later on that she had a knack of encouraging other members to deliver their speeches. So she would go to a member who was a lawyer, who has a way with words, and she will, but he has not been delivering his speeches. So she has a knack of going and approaching members like this and telling them, how about if we deliver our speeches at the same time? And pretty soon, she was able to encourage all these members who were not delivering to go with her at her pace, which was quite frequent. So at the end of the year, we had several members who accomplished and became competent Toastmasters simply because we had one member who had a knack of finding the trigger. The lawyer did not bother about certificates. He was not moved by incentive. But this member divine found a way to get him to deliver, which was to challenge his ego. Here was somebody who could not speak very well and challenging him, the lawyer, to deliver a speech. So as mentor, let us try to find that resource, try to find those resources, trying to find those members in our club that could help and that would be willing to mentor. One important resource that we often overlook are our senior members in the club. The past leaders, the past district governors, the DPMs in our club. Let us make sure that we involve them because they are an important resource that we often forget for mentorship. And oftentimes they will agree to this because they want to remain productive. They want to remain productive. I have often heard of this phrase, wala na kami has been na. So wala na kaming silbi sa club. So as club officers, you will have this opportunity to provide them activities. Make them remain productive. You would want them to remain as members of the club. It's difficult to recruit members now. So you would want to retain whatever members we have in the club. So tap them, tap those resources that you have in your club. In this way, they will be able to learn also from their mentees, especially if the young members are also techies, because this will be a mutual support group. The senior member will be able to guide the new ones in terms of leadership, in terms of speech development, in terms of other things that happens in the club. The younger ones can reach out and help with technology. So it could be a win-win situation in the end. Encourage the seniors to do something for others. I was talking once to a Toastmaster who had achieved a certain level already. And she was telling me, I'd like to stop my participation already in Toastmasters because I think I'm not getting anything anymore. So during that conversation, I told them, I was asking her, so what has Toastmaster done for you? And she told me, Toastmasters have given me more confidence. I am now able to speak in front of people. I can organize my thoughts. It has opened lots of opportunities for me, and said, so now is the time to do something for the newer members. How about paying it forward? And I think it's stuck because she is still with Toastmasters. So this is an opportune time also for the officers to know when to tap the members, how to tap these resources that you have in the club, and help them receive recognition. Although I'm sure a lot of them would not require that piece of paper anymore, but the simple thank you would be enough. Okay? So what are the qualities of a mentor? You could have a few of these, you could have all of them. Maybe you first, of course, if you have the time. Patient. Sometimes I'm very impatient already. Sensitive, respectful, flexible. You are supportive, you're knowledgeable, you're confident, you're a good listener, and you have concern, a genuine concern for others. The desire to help. Because that is how a mentor should serve the mentee. A genuine concern for others. It is not to mold the mentee into your image, but rather it is to help the mentee achieve their personal best and grow into the person or the Toastmasters that they want to be. And this is very important because we had one member who came in. She's really makibaka in the way she speaks. Very strong, fighting words. And when she joined, the husband told her, good, you're joining the club of Elisa and Dottie, because that means you will mellow down, you will speak softly, and you will calm down in your speech, which is something she did not want. So after a few meetings, she left. So we had to go back and find out what happened. And she said, I don't want to change because if I stay here, I will lose my personality. I said, and we have to explain to her that that is not how the program works. We're here to find out your weak points. We're here to improve on your strength and see the end product of you as a person. So remember this, if you are a mentor of a member, do not impose your style on the member. Help them develop their style. Help them work on their strength and just guide them along the way. And I was talking earlier of design, that mentoring will have a design, coaching will not have a design. This is the design, and this is focused on the club officers. For each club, if we currently do not have a pattern for mentor-mentee program in the club, we could come up with these standards. So if you have, let's say, 6 volunteers for member mentor in your club, you can come up with this design. It's like steps that we follow. And you could modify this to suit your club, or you revisit it after 6 months and to check if it's working or not. Okay? The first meeting or first sit-down session with the mentor and by the mentor and the mentee. So you sit down with your member, then you orient them, your club customs and procedures, because sometimes club customs, club traditions will dominate. And you have to explain this to the members. And because these members could read up on manuals and say, that's not here, that's not present. What you're doing here is not present in the club bylaws, but it's something that has been done by your club. So you can explain to the members practices that you have within the club so that they will not be shocked. Explain how to sign up, let's say in Pathways, or just to, not even just into Pathways, but explain how to sign up and log in into the www.toastmasters.org and show them where they can check their personal profile. That will help. Help them with the icebreaker. Do not push them right away. Just, okay, you deliver your speech, icebreaker. Just introduce yourself. It's so easy. Oftentimes, we have members that will not do well once they do the icebreaker. Some members might be laughing, and then they have a harsh evaluation. We might lose members. So help them with the icebreaker. Show them the way. Explain what evaluation is. So it will not take place, not all of this will take place in the first meeting, but these are just first steps in your mentoring process. Now, in the next meeting, I'm saying meeting here, but it could be just sessions, it could just be coffee time, it could be just simple conversations with your mentee. Show them where the resources are located. Show them where the resources are located, let's say in the Toastmasters.org. Tell them, if you look at the club profile, if you look at your member profile, you could find information. If you need your Toastmasters logo, this is where you go, how you get it. You could join the Facebook group of official Toastmasters members. You could join the Facebook group of Toastmasters resources in Region 14. So show them these resources and how they can access it. Provide positive feedback. Explain responsibilities, especially if they are assigned to a role, especially when they have speaking parts, and that is their responsibility to adhere to, because it would be extra work for the Vice President for Education if they do not attend, even if they have assignments. So explain responsibilities. Help with their speeches and other assignments. I've known of some members who refuse to be mentors because they say, I don't know how to write speeches. I'm not good in English. We don't have to be great in English. We don't have to be good grammarians to be mentors, because we can simply have members, other members help them. We have some members in our club that would not like to take on the role of mentors, but they are willing to help out with speech development, speech writing. You can send them your speeches via email. They will help check grammar. They will help check speech construction, but they do not want to member. But you, the mentor, will know who these people are. The mentee will not know them because they are new members. So show them the way, introduce them, help them out, make the connections. Then over time, gradually, share how you have grown in Toastmasters, how it has opened doors for you. Invite this new member to other events. Tag them along, go with them. Acknowledge progress. If they became timer in the club, if they did well as a counter, acknowledge their progress. And then explain officers' duties and roles, because this is the first step in opening their eyes and possibilities to accepting leadership roles in the club. Once they know what the duties are, once they know what they can gain by becoming officers of the club, it opens up possibilities for them. Explain speech contests. Don't push them into it, explain it, and gradually it will grow. When I first joined Toastmaster, I was just so curious about the speech contest. Eventually, I wanted to do it. So I was the one asking about it already. So if you open the possibilities, if you clear up the minds and show them the way, they will take on these challenges. describe the organization. That's when they will now start to appreciate that there are other Toastmasters club in the area, and that several of these clubs will form an area, several areas would form a division, and then eventually our District 75. And then from there, we can describe the worldwide organization. Don't start right away with, you know, the international president is Richard Peck, the first vice president is Margaret Page. It's beyond the realm of understanding of the members. Start with the club. Start with the officers of the club. Eventually introduce them to area officers. And then they will learn to appreciate the entire organization. So why do we need all of this? Why do we need mentoring? We had a new member before. We had a new member before who, let me share. We had a new member before. She delivered her icebreaker. The one who did the evaluation was somebody who was just 2 speeches ahead of her. Both did not have mentors. At the end of the meeting, after the evaluation, we lost one member and we almost lost the evaluator too. Because the member who delivered the icebreaker, she just delivered it. She gave her speech without somebody guiding her. And the other Toastmaster was a first-time evaluator too. And she did not also have a mentor beside her, guiding her, showing her the way. So at the end of the meeting, one member never came back, the one who delivered her icebreaker. And the other one felt bad because one member left because of her. She was saying, I did everything right. She did not have an organized speech. She did not have gestures. Actually, she was on point with her observations of the speech. But the way she evaluated the new member was very harsh that we lost a member. Not all members would get through that initial bump, that initial shock of being evaluated. So we all have to ease the way for all these new members. We cannot afford to lose members because nobody was there to guide them. And that is why we have mentors. I was talking to one district and they have 95% retention of members and clubs simply because they have trained mentors. They have around 1,000 mentors trained and are willing to help. So the mentorship program would be very, very effective. I would like to share this. If you see here, desired incentives to join, you have 35% ability to meet in person. This is because of the COVID thing. But if you look at one area here, more mentoring available to me. This is desired incentives for a person to join. But what if they had that mentorship available before they left? That's around 22% that we could have retained as members because a mentor was made available. So when we talk of mentorship, it's not simply just helping them out. Sometimes it's just being there. Sometimes you have members that comes in and they are already good speakers. They know their staff. Sometimes we just have to find out what they specifically need and why they join Toastmasters. Sometimes it's because they want the leadership training. So assist them in that way. Some will join because they want to speak better, not because of leadership training and not of the leadership position. Maybe the leadership skills will come in later, once they have gained the confidence of speaking in front of people. So we have to find that why. I started with Simon Sinek. I'm going to end with that. Find their whys. Why did they join Toastmaster? We have something called a member interest survey. It's not just for new members, it's for all of us. So at the end, at the start of the year, we find out what we can do, what we want to do, short term, long term. So the mentors will know the goals of the individual members. So club officers, it is our goal to be able to keep members and to guide them along the way. And that is why we're having these sessions. We are having this member mentoring session. So mentors, find the why of your mentees, and that will really, really help them. So good evening. Back to you, DJ.
Thank you, past international director Elisa. We learned so much about individual mentoring, which is a proactive approach to grow and develop members, whether as a learner or somebody who wants to pay things forward, to connect each member to a why. Now, as we know, it's also natural for every club to go through certain challenges, particularly at this time when the world is also confronting a pandemic. So that means there are certain clubs who are challenged in a certain way. And there are available intervention that they can optimize. And part of those intervention is actually having a club coach. And to learn more about how to have a club coach and move our clubs forward to better performance is somebody who also closed her term as district governor, with District 75 finishing as President's Distinguished District in 2014. So friends, please give and join me in giving a virtual applause to a coach and leader, the formidable, distinguished Toastmaster Katrina Letargo.
Thank you very much, DJ, for that introduction. Good evening, everyone. So this is just a short presentation on the concept of being a club coach. Is Joy there to share my screen? Okay, there you go. So I will briefly explain the concept, then you will have a chance for some case studies. So please enable the chat box because I might ask participants to type some responses in the chat box. Okay. So next slide. The objectives for this particular session is to know the club coach qualification, discover why a club coach is needed, how to be an effective club coach. Okay. May I know if anyone in the room, you may just do a thumbs up sign, has been assigned as club coach to a Toastmasters club. So thumb sign will do. Do we have participants? Also, if not in Toastmasters, if in your personal work or in your personal life, you have coached a team. It could be a sports team, a debate team, any group or team. So let's see, thumb sign or raising of your hand. Okay. So first and foremost, we must know what is the difference between a mentor and a coach. Next slide, please. A while ago, PID Elisa mentioned the difference. So in your chat box, please type in what is the difference between a club coach and a mentor. So let's see if you were listening to the talk of PID Elisa. Let us see your responses. What's the difference? She mentioned it earlier. So let's see. Responses, please type in using the chat box. Hala, kalimut na. Let's see. Do you recall? Okay, there you go. We have several responses coming in. Okay, all right. Short-term relationship, long-term, all right. Good. Okay, let's wait for the other responses to come in. Yes, it's task-oriented. And the other one, it's longer relationship. Okay, mentorship is long-term. It's relationship-oriented. Okay. All right, coach is performance-driven. Good, so you recall what was discussed earlier. All right, so a mentor is a person who shares her knowledge and expertise with one or more people who have less experience. Okay? So similarly, you act as a tutor or in a way, an advisor to the club. So can you click on the slide or the mouse? There you go. So for the other one, being a coach, you may want, I have this analogy for the club coach. Okay? So normally, when people are ill, they make an appointment to see the doctor. So it is the doctor's job to diagnose the problem and present the patient with several options for treatment. Now, the patient selects among the many options that he or she believes is the best treatment for himself or herself. So the doctor just provides the tools for treatment, but it is the patient who is responsible for following through with the treatment plan. Similarly, a club coach's task is like that of a doctor. You propose, you present several tools, you provide the club with the tools needed for them, and it is really up to the club to use all of these tools. Okay. So given that analogy, what would now be the task of a club coach? Next slide, please. So the task of the club coach is number one, or the first one, build rapport with the club leaders and members. It is important that when you are assigned as club coach, you have to get to know the club better. Next bullet is to observe and analyze the club environment.
JJ?
I think JJ got disconnected.
Oh. So I think while JJ is also trying to connect, I would suggest that for those of us who would probably want to go on a bathroom break, this is the moment to do that. Oh, you're back. Just after I was
it's the
telling them
internet connection. No, I had to switch.
break.
Yeah, I had to switch internet providers too. So
Yeah, so hold off. No, before going to the bathroom break then. Let's continue.
So, sorry. So
No
normally
problem.
you need to have more than one internet provider. So the other one
bathroom
comes
break.
out. Yeah.
Okay,
I had to use the other one. Okay. So the next one is to observe and analyze the club environment and assist the club in generating solutions. So every club, they have their own club culture, so to speak. So as a club coach, don't change the club's culture the way your personal club is doing it, because every club has their own club culture. Okay? Case in point, I am a member of 4 clubs right now because there's one club that I am helping them for their membership. Now, my mother club is a shy club wherein a lot of the members there really need to boost their confidence at their own pace. Another club is what I call the Bibo Club, which means all the members are really very good communicators. They want to be the number one in everything they do. So of course, I cannot impose, the culture of the Bibo Club to that of the Shy Club. Wherein, as a club coach, I have to also check why are they so timid and how would I be able to help them rise above their being timid in their own way. Okay? I cannot just tell them, these are the goals, hit the goals, compete. No, that will not work. That might even destroy the club. So observe, look at the club environment. As I've mentioned, the club is existing at their own pace, which means I cannot expect them to hit all the goals by, let's say, April, okay, where some of the clubs already have their goals in. They do the goals, but it's usually at the last stretch. They complete it by mid-June to end of June. But at the end of the year, they still become distinguished or better. Okay. The third bullet, okay, next bullet, is to help the club develop a plan with goals for improvement. So as a club coach, we have a tool called Moments of Truth. So this is a very good tool to help analyze what are the gaps in that club and think of a strategy to help the club. And the last bullet is to enable the club to achieve goals by instilling enthusiasm, fidelity, and a sense of responsibility. So as a club coach, work with them to help them become more engaged. If you need to gamify your table topic session, help them achieve that. Okay. So what is now your qualification to become a club coach? To be a club coach, first and foremost, you must not be a member of the struggling club which you will be appointed or assigned to. Okay? So, if you are not a member of that club, you give the outsider's perspective, which allows you to view the club objectively. District leaders are valuable resources to you and to the club. Don't be afraid to ask. So who appoints you? It's the district director or the club growth director who may appoint the club coach. Now, there may be 2 club coaches for each club. It is also important that the club has now more than 12 members at the time of appointment. So if the club already has 13 members, unfortunately, they do not qualify to have a club coach assigned to them. Of course, as a club coach, it is important that you also let the area director know, the club growth director know, and even the district director of how you are helping the club. Now, this is something that a few members get confusing. So, initially, you cannot be a member of the club that you get appointed to, but you may become a member of the club afterwards. Okay, clear so far? Okay. This is,
Yes.
again, an exercise for your fingers. So again, by using the chat box. Next slide. Why do you think some clubs are productive or very much active, but some clubs are struggling? What could be the reasons for this? So let's look at the chat box. What are the responses of our participants? Why do you think some clubs are having difficulty and are struggling? So we have clubs have different cultures, okay? Good mentors are present in successful clubs. Okay? Any other reason? Club culture, mentors. Okay? Again, members may not be mentored well or not coached well. Any other reason? Okay, they have more assignment or excitement. Again,
Sorry.
yeah, I'm like a baby. It's way past my bedtime. No joke lang. So again, so productive clubs have good mentors. So other reason perhaps? Sincerity. I see. So leadership. So if the club lacks the leaders lack the vision or the goals. Okay. If we're going to think of the scenario now, pandemic times versus pre-pandemic, parang prehistoric, no? Versus the time when we were meeting face to face. Is there a difference when the clubs are clubs considered more active now that we are in the pandemic time or prior to pandemic? Okay. So, yes, they're more active now. So what could be the reason when we were meeting face to face that clubs were struggling? What could be the reason for struggling clubs back then, pre-pandemic time? Communication gap, okay? Accessibility. Especially in Metro Manila, the number one concern was the traffic situation. So from work, people are struggling to go to another location just to attend their club's meeting. Of course, now because everything is being done virtually, then some people are more confident to also attend the club meetings. It's more accessible to them. Provided, of course, you have very good internet connectivity. That was also a problem in one of my clubs. Though we had a venue that is free, but just to go to the venue, it takes more than an hour for our members to go to the meeting. So we had to look for another place where there is parking. It's easy to go there using a train or commuting by riding a bus or even walking for some. And of course, there's great parking space. So given that and considering all of these things, how can you become an effective club coach? Next slide, please. First, you have to make the club connection. What does that mean? As a club coach, you need to visit and get to know the members and the officers of the club. You have to build rapport with the members. Okay? Next is to conduct a status check of the club. This is the moments of truth. So as a club coach, you also need to observe and understand the dynamics of their club culture. Third item is to help the club have quality meetings. So, what do you consider as a quality meeting? Chat box, please. Let's see your responses. What do you consider as a club having quality meetings? So while they're typing, okay, what is a quality meeting for you as a Toastmaster? If you're going to attend a Toastmasters meeting, it's engaging. Okay, what else? Okay, all are engaged. DJ, this is not the engagement that you want, huh?
Oh no.
So, it has to be fun, encouraging, yes. Of course, you must have a complete program. There you go.
Inspiring.
Just my thought. Okay, so you have the 3 important items in a meeting. Table topics, prepared speeches, and of course, evaluation. Okay, good. Of course, it's organized. I didn't see, did people put, start and end the meeting on time? Because sometimes people would want their meetings to still start and end on time. Next bullet, fostering a membership building and membership retention culture. So I'm not sure what membership building programs you have in your clubs. There was a time that in one of my clubs, we were giving away Starbucks certificate for a member who can bring in and sponsor another member. So there was a time also, one of our VP for membership, because the person is such a health buff, offered, a free salad bar treat to a member who would bring in more members in their club. Then I told our VP for membership, but salad bars do not sit well with me. I would prefer dragon fruit. So, of course, he said this because he's a supplier of, fruits and vegetables. So, anything that would help the club bring in members. Okay? The next bullet is to recognize the achievement. Toastmasters International provides several awards for the clubs. So the Distinguished Club, Select Distinguished Club, or the President's Distinguished Club. There's also the Founders Award. Okay? So it would be good to also take a look at the achievements of the members and of the club. Toastmasters International provides the ribbons that you can put on your banner. So it would be good to show that in the club as well. Once the club receives a ribbon, regardless if it's Distinguished, Select, or Presidents, have a banner for all of your ribbons. And of course, the next bullet is to help members have a vision for the future. Every year during our first COT, the clubs are requested or asked to do their club success plan and their distinguished club program. Okay? So as a club coach, take note of this, take a look at it, and help the club complete their club success plan if in case they haven't completed it yet, and plan how to achieve the Distinguished Club program. So whether they want to be Distinguished, Select, or President's Distinguished. So to be able to earn the Distinguished Toastmaster credit being assigned as club coach, the club must achieve at least Distinguished Club status. Okay. So, given that, let me share with you my last slide, and these are the sources that you can use to help you become an effective club coach. So these are all available in the Toastmasters website. Okay. So I think, DJ, we will save the questions later.
Yes.
And they're now ready for their case studies.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, JJ.
15 minutes lang eh. So.
Yes. So I've mentioned earlier that we will just have to postpone a little bit of our bio break. So what we will do is we will move ahead to the breakout session. So we'll be working on 3 cases. We will be divided on 6 groups, and a facilitator is assigned on each of your group. So I will not go over the details anymore because they are already equipped to explain that as well for you and with you. So what I would just like to emphasize is we have a total of 25 minutes to finish the case. And so if everybody's already all set, I'd like to request our tech team to distribute us to our 6 breakout groups, and see you in 25 minutes.
Give me 1 minute to DJ finalizing the distribution of the trainers per breakout room. Cool,
no problem. Okay, so if that's the case, then we have enough time for your Kahoots. Jazz, are you ready to do that? Jazz?
Hi, DJ. I thought you're going to request for a bio break.
Okay. Sige, if that's the case, then still good. So let's utilize then just a minute for us to have our bio break. Most likely by the time we return, we've already been distributed to each of our breakout rooms. So yes, this is a good time for us to do that. And in the meantime, for those of us who are in the room and are yet to be moving to each of our breakout rooms, then I will just have to play a music for you. And then at the same time, and also flash the guidelines so that you can also view them while waiting for us to go on or go and move forward to each of our breakout sessions. So here are the guidelines, and I'm going to share my screen. Yes. So, and then I'll play the music. So yes, we're going to have 6 groups working on 3 cases. Facilitators are assigned per team, but only one group gets to present. And I will identify them when we are back to the main room. So we are still in the process of distributing all of you to your respective breakout groups. We actually have 3 very interesting cases. So 2 cases are specifically for club coaching. So one is within the space of corporate club coaching. And then the other one is within the context of an open club or a community club coaching. And then the third case is an interesting one because it will also specifically cover the topic on individual mentoring. So what we have here are interesting cases that we can work. And while waiting for us to be distributed to each of our breakout rooms, then I will have to play this music while the rest of us can also go on a bio break in case we need one.
Sir DJ, ready when you are.
Okay. We can already move, Joy. Anyway, for those who left, they can go back to, and then they can be where their rooms are.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Sabihin mo, please ba?
Hi.
Master.
Evening.
Hi. Hi, Julius and everyone. Hi, Lisa, it's you again.
Alam mo na to, wala nang kakain ito.
Yes, it's me again.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tisha Timbang. I will be your facilitator for this case study. So before we proceed with the case discussion, is it okay for everyone to introduce each other? Say your name, your club role, and what else? I think that's it. And from what club you come from. I only know Lisa and Area Director Julius. So maybe we can start with the one who looks like an elementary student, Lauren.
Hello, good evening, everybody. I am a member of St. Gerard Fidelis Toastmasters Club.
Oh, St. Gerard. Okay. Thank you, Lauren. How about you? I think I know her also. Wendell.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Windel Vidamandal from St. Gerard Fidelis School as well. So in St. Gerard, I am a club officer as I am the secretary rather, and then the area director of Area 3.
Oh, you're also an area director. Okay. Thank you, Wendell. Raquel.
Hi, I'm Raquel Refugio. From my club role is Currently, I'm the vice president for EDUC for the charter club, which the first charter meeting will be held tomorrow. And
Ah,
I'm the past president of NPC Toastmasters Club, and that's my home club, NPC Toastmasters.
and what's the other club that's about to be chartered, Raquel? What's the other club?
It's Alab Toastmasters Club.
Ah, yeah, Alav from Division A. Congrats,
Yes.
Raquel, for being part of a dual club
Thank
named
you.
Alab. And Lisa.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lisa Milante. I'm a member of the IWI Club, IWI is International Rice Research Institute, and also I am the area director, K2, Area 2.
Okay, so we have 3 area directors here from Division K. And I'm not sure if Beverly is also an area. She's not, right? Okay, Beverly, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening. I am Beverly Alberto. I am a member of Laguna Toastmasters Club in Calamba. I am the VP for membership.
Okay, Bev, thank you. And last but not the least is the good-looking area director, Julius.
Hello everyone, I'm Julius Cruz from Amplion Xperia Toastmasters Club and also currently serving as Area Director for Area 1 Division K. Nice to be here. Nice to see you all.
Yeah, you're the only guy here, so
Oh, ano?
but I will not ask you to be the speaker for this group because I know you're doing so many things in your area. So why don't we get another person to do the reporting later? So we have 3 choices, Beverly, Lauren, and Raquel. Who will volunteer, or I will ask one of you to do the presenting? Bev, would you like to be the reporter? Lauren. Okay.
Not
Sige.
tonight, please.
Not tonight. Okay, tomorrow we will have another seminar. Since they are very shy, let's ask either Lisa or Wendell who would like to be the reporter, because Julius, we see him everywhere. He's all around the district. Lisa, would you like to be the reporter?
Okay, I will accept the
Okay.
challenge.
And true to your title, Wendell, you're the secretary, right? So can you be the scribe? Sige. So our case study, let me share the screen. Lauren, kindly read the case study. Can you see the case study now?
Case Study 3, Member Mentoring. Joselito Joaquin is an advanced communicator gold and a district speech champion. But since the move to Pathways, he has not been delivering speeches. He prefers to either take on meeting roles or be there as general evaluator. Only 3 founding members remain active. The rest of the members are new. Joselito volunteered to mentor 2 new members who are yet to enroll in Pathways. With meetings done remotely, he also has occasional trouble with his internet connection. How will you address Joselito's concerns and help him effectively mentor the 2 new members?
Okay. So that's our case study, everyone. So who would like to start by giving recommendations or suggestions? So imagine Joselito Joaquin, he can probably be in his 40s, 50s, or even can be a senior citizen, a long-standing member of Toastmasters, but has not done any pathways, any speeches in the pathways program. So how can we help Joselito Joaquin? Would you like to start, Bev? How do we address the concern of Joselito? or whoever is ready. Julius, would you like to start the ball rolling? What do you recommend for Joselito to do? I mean, given his situation.
Tisha, I will first look for the ball before I can roll it. I'm still looking for the ball. If you can give me time.
Okay. Sige. I hope it won't take a long time, but yeah, sige. Let us start with the,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still thinking. So if others can first.
Okay. Sige, Lisa, would you like to take on?
Yes.
What do we suggest for Joselito to do, or the two members? What do we do with the members that he wants to mentor?
If he's the old member, should be called
long-standing member.
Long-standing member, and the rest are all new members.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps he can ask for of course there's another club or an area director or somebody to help first. Orient him, because he doesn't know about pathways yet. So orientation on the pathways, the new education program of Toastmaster. And then, so that's the first thing.
Okay. Sige. That's you have another suggestion?
So I think for one is asking also the help of the area directors or somebody outside the club, because if that's it's new, the education program is new to him, though he wants to be a mentor, then somebody has to coach him first or orient him to that.
Okay, yeah, that's a very good point, Lisa. So your recommendation is for us to get an outsider, either a district leader or somebody who has adept knowledge on Pathways program, considering that he is totally clueless. And I can very much relate with Joselito. I am a long-standing member. So you can just imagine the gap that you have with the legacy and the old program and the new program. So I think an outsider, somebody who has good knowledge on Pathways can be a good help for Joselito. So that's one recommendation. How about you, Bev? Are you ready? Would you like to make a recommendation? What do we do with Joselito? And how about the two members that he wants to mentor?
If he is really willing to mentor the new members, maybe he can look for or subscribe to another good internet connection, so he can directly communicate with the two new members. And then other ways, such as maybe they can talk through phone or have an assignment through emails, or so that he can update their progress. If there are materials to be used from Toastmasters website, he can ask them to check on it from time to time, if he can meet them in a regular basis, maybe.
Very good. Another very good point, Bev. So your recommendation is that you look for a better internet connection, and the other one is if there's really no way that he can be connected online, he can probably use the mobile phone to get connected to the new members. So very good point. So that's another suggestion to address the connectivity or the internet connection problem. Thank you, Bev. How about you, Wendell? Would you like to make a recommendation for Joselito?
Okay. So actually, that's what I am going to share as well. Because as of
Internet.
now, yes, internet connection. Because if that is the concern, wherein we cannot communicate, so we have other ways. We have phones, cell phones, through text. So in that case, we can even call. We don't need internet connections with that. So, and then in that case, Joselito is an advanced communicator. So we have the saying that we cannot give what we don't have, especially in his case that he is not that aware about pathway. So Joselito needs to equip himself first about pathway, because in his case we're in advanced communicator bro, so he can share ideas about how to deliver
Yeah.
speeches and the rest.
Yes.
Then maybe he can also like what AD Lisa told, that ask help from area director. So in that case, Joselito, I'm pretty sure Joselito is aware on the use of our TI website. So we have a lot of resources that he can advise those two new members to check on with the resources in the TI website. So that's it.
Okay, thank you so much, Wendell. I like your recommendation, particularly with the norm or the achievement of the long-standing member Joselito, that we do not discredit because being an advanced communicator gold is already an accomplishment. So we do not discredit that fact, and that can be of good use in mentoring, particularly with the quality of speeches of the new members. So we have to make use of this. And the second point, and this is a very good point as well, because you come from a school and your recommendation is somewhat related to what the format that you are using in school, which is the blended learning, right? When you have the blended learning approach, you maximize the other devices and platforms in case the online learning fails, you have other options. Did I cover all the suggestions that you have? So the first one is the achievement, or how can Joselito help the new members given that he is an advanced communicator gold or advanced communicator? And secondly, about the use of other equipment or other mobile devices in case the internet connection is a problem. And lastly, I think you made a third point which I missed. Did I? Wendell, that's it? Did I cover all? Okay. Sige, you're muted.
Yes.
Okay, good. Sige, now we move to Raquel. Raquel, would you like to suggest what do we do with Joselito among... Yeah, there were already suggestions about internet connection.
Ito po yung sample.
Okay.
Yes, Raquel.
As advanced communicator gold, of course, and for sure, Joselito Joaquin has knowledge being advanced communicator gold, and he can share his knowledge, and the two new members also can share their knowledge, as for example, as in the new technology today. So the two parties have win-win solution, because what Joselito knows is not what Joselito know. Joselito can share what he knows, and the two can share to Joselito as well. That's the win-win solution.
Okay. Thank you so much, Raquel. So this is what Toastmaster PID Elisa mentioned earlier, that the new one can help the long-standing member, right? I think she touched this topic earlier, that we also have to consider the senior citizens in Toastmasters, because they have so much knowledge to give to the new members. And I think it's best that we include this suggestion that consider Joselito and the new members, I mean, them together in a win-win solution. So they are both of them are can help each other and can help create a quality club, considering the gaps that they have, being new and then being long-standing member. How about you, Area Director Julius?
Yes, thank you, Tisha. I was further dissecting the case and I noticed that there are actually three long-standing members, if I got it correctly. So I was thinking maybe we can capitalize on that because from the case I can sense that there is something holding Joselito back from pursuing the Pathways program. So the question is, what is that something that Joselito is that is making Joselito, that is holding back Joselito in pursuing the pathway? So I was thinking maybe that can be best drawn out from him if someone who is his confidant or someone whom he has a relationship with can simply talk to him and try to draw out from him what's that something that holds him back from pursuing pathways. And I was thinking maybe the three remaining long-standing members have already built a rapport with Joselito, and thus we can actually maybe request one of the members to simply have coffee with Joselito, talk to him, and try to draw out from him the reason why he is not yet pursuing the Pathways program. So, and then I think it's not because he has no public speaking skill. Definitely he has, because he has ECG, Advanced Communicator Gold. But there is a deeper reason. So I think the long-standing members, one of the three, can help draw that out. So once that is drawn out, then Joselito can now pursuing Pathways. Then he is now in a more credible position to mentor the others, the new members, because as they say, you cannot give what you do not have. And it would be hard for Joselito to mentor the new members if he himself is not pursuing the Pathways program. So I would recommend the 2 points. One is to draw out from him what's holding Joselito back, maybe the three long-standing members. Another is once Joselito started with the Pathways, then he can be in a more credible position to mentor the new members to pursue the Pathways likewise.
Yeah. Very good points, Julius. Thank you. So the first suggestion is to draw out or probe why he is not pursuing the Pathways program. Probably we don't know, there are personal issues like insecurity or what, we don't know. So it's best that we probe, and that's what Elisa mentioned earlier as well about the asking the why. And it's also important for us to ask the why, what Simon Sinek mentioned, the why of Joselito Joaquin. And that's a very good point that Julius shared, that we have to ask the why of Joselito. And the second suggestion is also very relevant, considering that he has this good desire, very good intention to mentor. But it would be best if he is aware of the Pathways program, because all the members have moved to the new educational program, and it would be embarrassing if he is not aware of the new program, right? So are we ready for the highlights? Toastmaster Wendell, would you like to share the highlights? And then maybe Lisa can run through, but we only have 3 minutes. Sige, Wendell, ikaw na lang. And then Lisa will do the reporting later.
Okay,
Wendell?
so
Yeah.
these are the points that I was able to take down notes. First is ask other members or help from area director about orientation so that Joselito will be knowledgeable about the pathways. Next is, since internet connection is a problem, so subscribe to new internet provider, or if not possible, at least Joselito can mentor the new members via phone or through mobile phone, text or call, so they will get connected with one another. So make use of resources as other platforms. So check on the resources in Toastmasters website, and then win-to-win situation wherein Joselito can help, at the same time the new members will help him as well. Then talk Joselito, that's point of AD Julius, about asking him what is holding him back, why not pursuing the pathways. And then from that, knowing the reason, so the members can talk to Joselito to push through with the pathway. So in that case, Joselito will be highly credible to become a pathway mentor to the new members. So that's
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Wendell. Maybe Lisa, perhaps you can use the word inclusiveness as an anchor to what AD Julius mentioned earlier. To when drawing out, we have to be mindful of the inclusiveness in the Toastmasters culture, that we include long-standing members as we transition from the legacy to the new program, which is the pathway. So the reason why we are doing this is because we are including, and we don't want any member to be left behind as we move to the new educational program. So are you game, Lisa? Are you ready? Ikaw na bahala. You're good? So we have 1 minute. Would you like to practice, or you're okay?
Let me just put name the outline only. I cannot. So first, I think I will start with what AD Julius mentioned, because the person involved, Joselito, has a struggle within him. So before he can solve the other problem, he must first resolve the problem. So that's drawing out the reason why he's not into pathways yet. And then as the second thing is the inclusiveness that you mentioned, saying that since there are 3 long-standing members and they have these new members, we have to consider that.
Lisa, we might lose you. There's 5 seconds left.
Yeah. So can you say that again, the inclusiveness?
Okay, I will PM you.
Okay. And then after that, that's the time that resolve the connectivity, the means of communication, and then reach out for help from area directors or district. And then also mention the blended learning as part of, there are many ways that we can communicate. So it's not limited to the. So
I think you've captured everything. So thank you so much, Lisa. And we will cheer you on in the main room. Thank you, everyone. Raquel, Julius, Wendell, Lauren, and Bev. Good night and enjoy the rest of the seminar. Bye.
Thank you also. Bye.
Bye.
Stars in your eyes, knowing I breathe it. I'm not faced by all the lights and flash cameras. Just put my arms around you, there's no need to care. But we are just ourselves.
Oh, King is actually here. Hello, Mary Tess. Anyhow, so I think all of us are already back in the room, and I hope that we're able to finish our discussion, because now we're moving towards the presentation, and I hope that we also are able to take our bio break so that we can proceed to each of the presentation. So as I've mentioned earlier, we have 3 cases, 2 covering club coaching and 1 for individual mentoring. And then for club coaching, we separated it within the space of corporate and also community. So now that we are on the presentation mode, so I will just be identifying representative of each of the case, not each of the group. So what will happen is each of the representatives will make a 5-minute presentation maximum. So state the case. So that's one, so that everybody understands the context. And then after that, let's share then what the group came up as a possible solution within the context of being an area director, a VP membership, or the division's club growth director. So, and then we will park all our questions because we will close all of these with a panel discussion. So is everybody already set and ready for the presentation? So you will know that your time is up because I will still play a music, but I think 5 minutes is more than enough for us to be able to finish our presentation. So I'll start with case number 1. So Jelai, are you and your team ready?
Of course, we are ready. Good evening, Toastmaster DJ. Yes, so for case study number 1, should I just for a while? So for our team, the member who will be reporting is Toastmaster Gladys. If I cannot find her. Toastmaster Gladys. There you go. So Toastmaster Gladys will be, I already sent you the case study, Toastmaster. So for you.
Yeah, it's somehow not downloading while I'm on Zoom. So I'll summarize it briefly.
I can screen share for you, Toastmaster, if you want.
Okay, that's fine. That would be fine. All right, so here's our picture of our club and our case. It's the start of a new term, and this is a well-established club of 10 years, and they are down to 10 members on paper, but not everyone's attending. Only 8 are actually active. Low attendance, changing priorities due to COVID pandemic. The HR department has informed the club officers that they will potentially cancel club sponsorship. As club growth director, area director, and club coach, how can you turn around the situation? So we would like very much to talk to people, talk to club members who are still part of the club, and ask them, how did the club start and why? And what has it done for you through the years? And how have you benefited? So the whys, but then we don't want the whys only from them. We also want to talk to members who are no longer active, the 2 and others from over the years as much as possible, which would involve asking the club members to talk to some of their colleagues, as well as talking to HR. Why did you support this club in the first place? What did you see in it as a benefit for the company? And we believe that would shine a light on to whether or not it's still relevant, which of course I'm inclined to believe it would be. And after talking to each of them, we wouldn't start out, or in talking to each of them, we would start out not first about Toastmasters, but first relationally. How are you? How are you feeling? How are you handling the pandemic? How's the morale around here? What are the big challenges? And what would you like to see happen? And so focus on their past view of Toastmasters, yes, but their present reality and where they would like to go. And then after these different discussions, we would like to talk again with the continuing active Toastmasters and ask them to evaluate and make a decision about how this could be most useful for them. Is it useful and why? And you know, experts have often talked about the need to share and articulate what a person is going through. So Toastmasters actually can become a venue for dealing with the changes of the pandemic. And so we want to enable them to do that. And then if they have come to recognize that Toastmasters is still relevant work with them to set up an action plan, to go to HR and say, we want this to continue. And also to be encouraging or campaigning for new members, to be developing a plan, not just to stay active with 8, but to move and grow so that more people can develop the benefits of learning. And if needed, for the time being, change the focus of the club meetings to be particularly related to the priorities, the changed priorities that were named according to the pandemic. Focus the Toastmaster meetings on those with themes, with speeches, the whole bit. That's basically the action plan, to affirm where they were, to start out discovering where they were, affirm where they're at, and try to identify a plan moving forward. And we hope to see the club revive and grow.
Thank you, Gladys. Yes. And then thank you also, Jelai. So we'll park all your questions and additional input for case study. We will move right ahead to case study number 2. And this time it's still about club coaching, but on a community standpoint. And to present this case to us is the representative coming from the team of NICE.
Right. Thank you, Toastmaster DJ. Now for case number 2, our reporter is the Vice President of Education of Erie Toastmasters Club, and please welcome Toastmaster Melchor Del Rosario. I'll be sharing the case study.
I would like to share my screen. Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Sige. Can he share screen?
Yes. Oh, okay.
Toastmaster Joy.
Yes,
Okay.
we can see it now. Yes.
Ours is case study number 2. It's a club coach. So to summarize what's written here. So through the years, membership is dwindling. Young professionals are not earning much. President and VP Ed are the ones regularly showing up. Only 8 renewed their membership, and they are from South location. And take note, the club is in North Pole. And here's the scenario. So what would the club growth director or area director will do? So, okay, as for this session, the number 1 solution is to assign a club coach, because that is his number 1 job, to help the club keep up his growth. So from the garnered, from my team's suggestions, so number 1 is assign a club coach, not just a ordinary club coach, but a dedicated one, experienced, so that he can share his thoughts on how to revive the club and have a SWOT analysis with the Execom, make a fundraising activity because money is a problem due to the young blood not earning as much as to the old members. Another one is, they say, tap the South Pole Club. So make a joint meeting. And another one I haven't put in here is make an open house meeting so that you can recruit as many as you can, bring all your friends, use your social media so that you can promote your club and encourage new blood so that you can build your new core team. And also work out on the mentorship program so that the club will have a strong core group. And another one they can do is recruit the old members who had left so that they can somehow revive, and because they're the one who's the more experience on what happened in the previous club, and maybe get in touch on the previous members. So that's the suggestion. came from my team members.
Thank you, Melcher, and thank you also, Nixie, for discussing to us case number 2. So now we're going to move from the space of club coaching. Now we're moving towards the one case we have, but this time specific to individual mentoring. So to discuss to us case number 3, so I'd like to call the representative coming from the team of Melinda.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster DJ.
Welcome.
The presenter from our team is someone who goes around the world attending online meetings. She is the Vice President for Education of Riverside Toastmasters Club from Division D. Let's welcome Toastmaster Carmelina Tumbagahan.
We have a case here wherein Toastmaster Joselito is a district champion in speech contest. He is an advanced communicator gold. He has so many achievements in his club. Unfortunately, he has not started with his pathways training. And the case that is assigned to us has to find ways like video. We have to find ways wherein we can solve the problem of Joselito. He wants to train new members into pathways where even Joselito has not started with his pathways project. We agreed, all 9 of us, including our trainer and also district director Marlene, we have this united agreement that since Joselito is not yet ready to train new members into pathways, we have to put on hold first this project or this idea of having him as train new members into pathways. We suggest that Joselito has first to learn what is pathways all about. And Joselito has to find also mentors who are like, for example, our district leaders. He can approach our district leaders and ask how to be in a pathways training, and also he can be enrolling in some district trainings hosted by our district into the pathways program. So we have to make him first well equipped with this project or with this path and with these pathways. And so we have to suggest that he has to learn first on the problem of the internet connection. Because he has a poor internet connection, we suggest that he could also go to a coffee shop or an internet connection where he can watch and save videos of this pathways training, and in his free time he can watch these saved videos for him to learn this pathways program. And also he can also ask our district trainers to to conduct trainings for his club, and also for a personal coaching from somebody who is who have already undergone the pathway. So that is all that we can suggest for Joselito. And in so doing, we believe that his club will soon be a distinguished club in terms of the Pathways program. So back to you, our Toastmaster of the evening, DJ.
Thank you, Carms, and thank you also, Melinda. No? And you have a very interesting background, Carms. You've truly been traveling around the world, no? So yes. So thank you everyone, particularly to our presenters. Now that we have already discussed the three cases, so we are moving towards the closure of today's session. So earlier we had two talks, and then we had the chance to apply them using the three cases. And now we actually don't want you to leave with question marks. So that's why we also allocated a time for us to have a panel discussion. So at this point, I'd like to call back again our speakers. We have past District Governor JJ, past International Director Elisa, and they will be joined by our district trio. So I'd like to call District Director Marilyn, Program Quality Director Richard, and Club Growth Director Jazz. And the five of them will form the panel that will provide closure just in case we have some questions to ask. So are our panelists already ready?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. Good,
My hair is
cool.
ready.
Yes, I can tell that you're very excited. So any questions that we have for our panelists? I have a few questions here coming from the registration form that you accomplished. But before I'll raise these questions, I will give everybody within this room the opportunity to ask our experts their questions.
Good evening.
Oh yes, Dayan, good evening, my group mate.
Yes, good evening. I have a question actually. In the beginning of the session, DTM Elisa mentioned about mentors not imposing his or her beliefs on the protege and letting this protege find his or her way. Now, my question is, what if the mentor, well, as a mentor, the person is supposed to help the protege grow. But what if the mentor does not agree with, for example, a major life decision of the protege? That is, there are some differences that exist. What are the ways on how to get past this, and is there, how do you call it, can a healthy relationship exist despite this? That's my question. Yes.
Yes, Diane. I think you're talking on the side of the mentee, right?
No, about the side of the mentor.
So as I've said earlier, a mentor will guide, but you cannot impose on the mentee, because first and foremost, you might have different styles. You might have different beliefs. So you can only discuss or share or maybe point them on the way. It might not be the right way for you. It might not be what is desired by your mentee. So at the start, you really have to open up and see each other's point of view. That's why I think PDG JJ mentioned that a relationship has to be formed. You cannot just jump in and share and give suggestions if you don't know yet. That's why I mentioned earlier, you really need to know what is driving your mentee. Why, you find out the why, what is pushing your mentee forward, what is their end goal, the whys in their life, or in whys in they join Toastmasters. Because from there you can move on. You can give general advices as a mentor. You can give different options. You can share styles. So then they can choose, they can follow, they can you, as a mentor, you also allow your mentees to discuss their points of view, what they feel, and how they would like to move forward. So that's why there's a relationship that goes on. It's not like when you say coaching, I want you to do it this way. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If not, get another coach. But in a mentor-mentee, it's a relationship that has to be established. So then you get to respect each other's point of view. Because at a certain point in life, once that relationship is established, the lines between a mentor and a mentee will be blurred. Because you will start learning from each other. I hope it clarifies it a
I
little.
would like to add to I would like to add to what Elisa mentioned. That's why for the clubs, when we have new members, we have to also gauge who are the existing club members who are already ready to mentor these new club members. Okay, that's one. So you can make anong tawag doon? The partnering, if let's say they have similarities or at least similar background, that's okay. Case in point, we have one new member in our club coming from the education sector, and it was now being assessed who would be the best fit to mentor this newcomer in our club. So it was decided upon the committee who handles assigning mentors to also provide the person somebody who is, adept and also understands the challenges coming from an education sector as well. Because you have, as mentor, you have to handhold the new member as well in their growth. Now, do not limit yourself to just one mentor because it now depends on your growth personally as a Toastmaster. As a newbie, definitely, you need a lot of guidance. But as you progress in your Toastmasters journey, within yourself, find your own mentor who can help you. Let's say you're very good you have your confidence now, you can deliver speeches, you need now help in, let's say, leadership. The original assigned mentor might not be the best fit. So find a mentor that will help you in your growth in that leadership path that you want to take on in your Toastmasters journey. Okay, so I hope we were able to help also Diane. So find the right fit, find the right mentor for that member.
Yeah. So that's a good question, actually specific to mentoring. And then I have here in the chat box a question, but this time on the space of club coaching. And I think it's timely and relevant. Now, the question actually goes like this. How do you handle a corporate club which is only existing due to a corporate mandate, but appears not to possess the heartfelt desire coming from each member to really engage in the Toastmasters program?
So I guess that falls on my plate.
Looks like.
All right. So if you're assigned, so if you're assigned as the club coach to this club, since it is a corporate club and it is a corporate mandate, before you do the deep dive, it would be best to also get in touch with management, whoever is the point person for this particular corporate club. I'm sure since it's a corporate mandate, they have the point person as well, who is monitoring the club and understand as well why did the company have this corporate mandate. There must be a reason because it's added cost to the company, and companies will not take on additional costs if they will not have an ROI on their side. So before you do the deep dive, talk to two parties, of course management, and then of course you have to meet with the club to understand so that there would be a way to meet halfway where management would be happy and even the members. Because let's say it's a corporate mandate. Company decides we form a club I want all of my senior officers to become presenters or very good communicators. Of course, for the member, they would not want to be forced to speak every week. So that's why there might be a resistance. They would rather, let's say they're in sales, they would rather just sell the product of the company and have the ROI, get the bonus, get the commission. Why spend 1 hour, 2 hours in a meeting speaking? That person doesn't like that. So at least find a way. So if that's the challenge, you might also do the what Elisa mentioned, the membership survey to understand as well what is the goal of that particular member. So talk to the officers, have that as well, so you would be able to bridge the gap, company side and club members side as well. Maybe once a week meeting with 1 hour, not once a week, once a month meeting as well might work, because that club might not be really after having 10 BCP goals. Maybe they're happy with 5. Don't force the issue as well. Don't force them to hit 10 goals if they can just do 5 goals. Again, it's what is the goal of the club, what is the goal of the members. I hope I answered that. Area Director Julius.
Yeah. So just to add to that, because we have the similar case in Division B in one of the corporate clubs. So after exploring that option, that's always the first step, the alignment of expectations of both parties. If really the members were forced to become members of the club, then perhaps another option is for the company to reassess the target audience. For sure, within the company, there are other people who would like, other employees who would like to become part of the club. So what will happen is a demo meeting needs to be conducted, and to also promote the Toastmasters program and invite new members to come in, because it's really hard to force people to stay within the club if they don't want it, right? So another option is to expand or to give the option to other employees who would want to develop their communication and leadership skills. And that's also a conversation with management.
Thank you, Jazz, for the added input. There's actually one question, and I think this is a good question before we close. And I'd like to ask somebody who is also into this, who is so into this, because the question is about pairing. So the question actually is, how do you properly pair the mentor protege, and then how do you know the potential mentor is ready to mentor? So in the context of pairing, Program Quality Director Richard, do you have an input to this one? How do you properly pair a mentor and a protege?
How do you properly pair? I think
yes.
Just like how we paired Nomel and Tisha. I guess for me personally, one option you can do is talk to the new member first. Before that member became a member of your club, I assume he or she has already attended your club meetings a couple of times. And during those club meetings, probably he or she looked up to somebody. Maybe he or she saw someone and idolizes that person. I want to be that kind of a speaker or that kind of a leader. So that's one option. You talk to them first. Secondly, you, as earlier mentioned by JJ, you check the background. If this person is a businessman, maybe you have a member of your club who's a businessman. If this person is a lawyer, maybe you have somebody from your club with the same background, and they can align better because they share the same experience in terms of their work experience. And third but not the least, you have to talk also to the mentor himself, right? So if I ask Gov Elisa, for example, can you mentor JJ? Gov Elisa has to commit that, yeah, I think JJ is somebody I'm comfortable working with. JJ is somebody that I can foresee to be somebody that could be my protege, and I am confident that I can share a lot of lessons with, and of course time, because the mentor, even though he's a seasoned Toastmaster, he's the best speaker in the club, doesn't necessarily mean he might have the time to commit to mentor the person. So I think survey is very important, and you analyze, and that's when you talk to both parties if you're confident and willing to be the mentor mentee with each other. Back to you, DJ.
Thank you, Richard, for addressing the area of pairing. Now, I think I will have to go, before I'll ask Director Nene to close the session, I think I'll have here a final question, but this time I will have to direct this question to our speakers. So it's for past International Director Elisa and also past District Governor JJ. And the question is a frequently asked question. So these are three types of questions, but they have almost the same theme. So how do we know if a person is already ready to mentor, or how do we know if a person is already ready to coach?
Elisa, you want to start?
How do you know? You'll have to look. The club officers basically will have to open up to the membership and ask who are willing to become mentors. Once you have a list, once you have a pool of Toastmasters in your club who would like to be mentors, then you can assess, because you cannot start assessing people if they have not committed. You could also have people or members who would say, I can help in the transition period. Show them the ropes. Maybe talk about the roles, sit beside them for a while, and then make them more comfortable in the club. So when they start speaking, the mentee themselves might even ask, as what Richard mentioned, they might be even the ones who will look for somebody to be their mentor. So initially, start with the first session that I said, the transition, wherein you teach them the ropes, show them around the club, share the culture. That's why there are some clubs who do not assign a mentor until the second or third speech, because then they start developing already a relationship with the members of the club. But you have a temporary member guiding them through the steps. So that could be one way. So first really is to find out who are willing to be mentors. Not all members would want to be mentors, but some would say, I can check their speeches, just ask them to email it to me. So then those who will volunteer to be members will know also that they have a group of people that they can rely on for extra help and support. So maybe if I am asked to mentor somebody, I am not that great in explaining how pathways would work, but we have members also who are willing and able to help. So I can point them to that direction. So maybe I can say, okay, so Jazz could help us with pathways. So Jazz has also signified her availability to teach pathways. So it's a team effort.
Yeah. And just to add to that, every year, officers as well would already have a feel of the members who are, committed and how they are presenting themselves. So you already somewhat know which among your members, even if the member does not know yet that they are ready to become a mentor. Usually for those who've been in the Toastmasters for the past 2, 3, 5 years and up, you somehow already know if a member of your club is really ready to mentor somebody else. Of course, normally a lot of clubs, even the old clubs or the quite new ones, would have a feel of who to ask as well, who might be a great mentor for a member. So that's the dynamics that happens in a club. Though it is a requirement that you assign a mentor to a new member, within the club as well, they would already know. Officers and some senior members would know. Now, how do you know if you're ready to coach a club? Of course, you don't assign someone who is not even active in their own club, though they just want to be a club coach. Okay. For the membership survey, or let's say every year in the club success plan or DCP, or in the area director's report, there's an item there wherein who among the club members are ready for a leadership role. So from that list, you would also know, because as a leader, same thing with a coach, you have to work with a team. So look at the names there, and from there also, you don't just let the person, okay, here's a guy to become a club coach. There's that commitment of time. There's the care, so to speak, because that person needs to care for the growth of that club. So seek also that the person has the personality to be able to coach the club. Not just because it's a requirement or because he or she wants to do it for their accomplish a goal or a norm. So look at the area director's report, look at the club roster, even within the club. They would, as members, you have to inform the officers or your mentors as well, your growth in the organization. How do you plan to grow? As a communicator or as a leader? Because if you at least know what you want to do, so they can help you. Your mentors can help you. Okay, you want to be a very good communicator and then guide you in competing contests. Okay. Or if the contests are not for me, I want to grow as a leader. So you can have your mentors help you achieve that goal. And of course, assign you as a club coach. Starts with a person, starts with a member on their readiness.
Cool. So I think that already wraps up the panel discussions. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our speakers. So that's past International Director Elisa and past District Governor JJ, along with our district trio. So that's Program Quality Director Richard and also our Club Growth Director Jazz. And perhaps to appropriately close tonight's session, I'd like to call, and I hope she's here. Let me see.
DJ, Ma'am Nene was disconnected and she messaged me to do the closing.
Yes, so that leaves us then to you. So once again, fellow Toastmasters and friends, to officially close tonight's session, I'd like to call our Program Quality Director, Richard.
Thank you, DJ. So fellow Toastmasters, once again, thank you for joining us in this training. I would like to thank our speakers, past International Director Elisa and past District Governor JJ, as well as our leaders who made this event possible. We have DJ, Joy from the tech team, and the rest of the training team who acted as facilitators earlier for this evening session. And in Toastmasters, we always say in our tagline that this is where leaders are made. And I think one of the best challenge or learning you can do as a leader is to become a mentor to somebody or to become a coach of a club that is in need of coaching. So to all our participants who are here tonight, I would like to thank all of you, and I encourage you to take on that role of being a mentor and a club coach to someone, so that not only will you be able to help your fellow Toastmasters succeed, you will also learn a valuable lesson on how to be a leader. And together, this is what the Toastmasters organization is all about, when we support each other and help each other so that we all achieve excellence. So once again, thank you for coming. Your attendance is a testament that you took you take your Toastmasters promise to heart and you want to do your best to become better leaders, not only for others, but for ourselves. Good evening, everyone.
So good evening, everyone. Thank you, Richard. And once again, this is DJ, and on behalf of District 75 training team, it's certainly awesome to be with you on a Friday night. And in behalf of our leaders, I'd like to wish everybody a very happy, meaningful, and healthy weekend. Bye-bye and good evening.
May nag-request DJ ng picture.
Yes, let us have a group photo. Yes, before we forget, no? And who's going to take our photo?
Joy.
Me, I can do it.
Oh, thank you, Joy. The
picture niya.
All right, so I have 2 pages lang naman. So I just need you to smile because you wouldn't know which window you'll be. So, all right, 1, 2, 3. All right, smile. All right, moving on to the next window. Pasensya, may lag ng konti. All right. Okay, everyone. 1, 2, 3, smile. All right, you can all breathe now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Great weekend.
Take care,
Thank you.
everyone.
Gabi. Bye. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. If you have not your dinner yet,
Dinner na.
you're not alone.
Hey,
Tomorrow
Rob.
is club
Dinner
building.
time.
Asan na si Rob?
Tomorrow afternoon, no?
Dito, Rob.
Tomorrow afternoon.